Welcome to Patrick and Friends Music. My name is Sebastian, I am a saxophone player, and today I wanted to talk about how to build major scales. Major scales have many uses. We see them in music, we see them and use them for auditions, and it's also a great way to practice how we improvise when we are taking solos in any kind of musical setting. For those of you that don't know what a major scale sounds like, let me play one really quick. A major scale has 7 different notes, and the 8th note, the final one, is the same as the very first one, except it's an octave higher. Now, we call it an octave because it is 8 notes away, or well, 7 notes away from the very first one. So So if you kept counting after I put my fingers down, you would have counted 7, and then the 8th note, the final note, was the first one, but just like I said, higher pitched, right? So same note is just a little bit higher, which is why we call it an octave, 8 notes apart. In order for us to build a major scale, we have to know the difference between a half step and a whole step. Now, if you know about accidentals, which are sharp signs and flat signs, and natural signs, then this should be a breeze. If you don't, I will include some signs below to get you up to speed. When we use flats or sharps, that's when we are most of the time talking about half steps, which means we're going only a half step above or below certain notes. For example, I'm going to play G natural. If you're playing piano or guitar, this is F for you. And then I'm going to go up a half step. So I'm going to play G sharp. And I want you to listen to the difference. So I went from G natural to G sharp. Now listen what happens when I go up a whole step, going from G natural to A natural. And if you play guitar or piano, we're going to go from F to G. Let's listen to them together. So I'm going to play G sharp, from G to G sharp, and then from G to A, right? So I'm going to go a half step first, and then I'm going to go a whole step. Whole steps, most of the time, is when we go from note to note without using accidentals. There are a few cases where we don't use accidentals and we are actually going in half steps, but we'll talk about that later. To build a major scale, we use one equation. It's whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. So when I say whole, I mean a whole step. When I say half, I mean a half step. Now, let's do this in the key of F concert. If you play tenor saxophone, this will be your G. And if you play alto saxophone, this would be your D. Now, let's begin with the first note, G. If we go up a whole step from G, our next note is going to be A. No sharps, no flats. We're going to go up another whole step from A, and our following note is going to be B. All right, whole, whole. What's next is half. So a half step up from B is going to be C. No sharps, no flats. And that's one of those notes where we are going up a half step without using flats or sharps. So we have to be careful. After that half step in the equation, we have 3 wholes in a row. So from C, we're going to go up to D. That's one whole step. From D, we're going to go up to E. That's another whole step. From E, we're going to go up to F sharp. Now, we are going from a natural note to a sharp note. Because if we go from E to F natural, that is a half step. And the equation tells us that we need a whole step. So if we go from E to F, we have a half. And we go from F to F sharp, we have another half. So a half and a half equals a whole, right? So this is our third whole of the equation. We are now at F sharp. And our final movement has to be a half note. A half step. So from F sharp to G, right? From a sharp note to a natural note. So now we have G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, and G. Let's play it. Now, if you play alto, your notes would be D, E, F sharp, for the same reason that we need to do a half and a half equals a whole. From F sharp up a half step to G, and then 3 wholes in a row. G to A, from A to B, from B to C sharp. Why? Because remember, from B to C is only a half step, and we need a whole step. B to C is a half step. From C to C sharp is another half step, and a half equals a whole. So from B to C sharp, and then finally we're going to go from C sharp to D, because the last thing we need to do in the equation is move up a half step. Let's play it. Now, if you're playing piano or guitar, you're going to play your F scale. And it's the exact same thing. Now, if you're playing saxophone, I'm going to go through this very quick explanation, but the notes are going to be the same. The sounds may be different, but the notes in terms of names and movement are exactly the same. So this is a very universal equation that you can use with any note. So let's do it with F for my concert players. We have F. We're going to move up a whole step from F to G. We're going to move up another whole step from G to A. Equation says now we need a half step from A to B flat. Because from A to B is a whole step, we need to make it a half. So we're going to subtract, right? B flat means we're lowering the pitch by a half step. And there's going to be a half step closer to A. So from A to B flat, it's a half step. From B flat to C is a whole step. Why? Same reason. B to C is a half, but if we lower B to make it B flat, we're adding a half. So half and a half equals a whole. It works both ways, going up and going down. From C to D is a whole step. From D to E is a whole step. And the last thing we need to do is a half step. So we're going to go from E to F natural, and we have completed our scale. Now that we finished all the scales, we did it in the key of E flat for alto. We did it for B flat, which is us in tenor players. And we did it in concert pitch for guitar and piano players. Let's see if we can build another major scale using a different note. Let's do it in the key of B flat concert. So if you're an alto player, you're going to do it. Your first note is going to be G. And if you play tenor, your first note is going to be C. Now, let's take a look at that equation again, which is whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. Our starting note is B flat concert, altos G, tenors C, piano and guitar B flat. So let's start. First note, C. Second note, because we have to go up a whole step, is going to be D. Third note, from D to E, a whole step. So it's E. I already gave you the answer. From E, we have to go up a half step. Remember that B and C is a half step, as well as E and F are half steps. So we're going to go from E to F, natural. Right. Now we have 3 whole steps in a row. From F up to G is a whole step. From G up to A is a whole step. From A up to B is a whole step. And from B to C is our final half step. So So I'm going to play this scale. You want to play with me, you're more than welcome to. Great, we've now built our second major scale. Now, a really good way to implement this is to choose a note first, whether it's B flat, E flat, B natural, E natural, F, A, G, right? So make sure we choose that first note, and then we can start talking about the whole steps and half steps. Hey guys, thank you for watching. Don't forget to check out some videos that are not going to be in the YouTube channel. Check out Patrick and Friends Music, the Patreon page. The link will be provided below. Thank you for watching.